Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue with our code here. So we are still finishing up the migration uh, thing here. Now, there's one thing we could do here. Having to do the parent construct all the time can become a pain. Especially if you have a lot of classes that are extending a database. So one way we can avoid this is to have the class actually run the code in the constructor in a different way. So what we're going to do is let's just remove this part here. So this is the migration class here, right? So if I go to my, we want to see if we haven't broken anything. So let me go to my project folder. Where is my project folder here? Can't actually find it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So what I want to do is try to run a migration from here. So cmd, let's do php migrate, and let's just put some random text just so it can run. Okay, so there it's running as intended. However, if I delete this part, then things won't run as they're supposed to. Let's clear that screen and redo the command. Oh wait, it actually is running. Interesting there. Why is it running though? Wait. Yeah, this is the right place. And migration. Yeah, I guess it is running, kinda. That's actually because in the users thingy, no, actually things are good even there. Okay, so maybe we don't need that, which is weird. Let me go back to my database class here for a sec. Okay, so this is inside the constructor, and this con is equal to connection. Okay. Okay, maybe it's running. Let's let it go. If it's running, at the point where we get an error, then we can come back and fix it, right? So clearly it's running here. So as the saying goes, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Okay, seems like it's running. Okay, so we get rid of that, and let's get back to business. So here, inside this part, I wanted to actually use the params that we give it. So here, I'm just going to replace this users part with the class name. So what I would do here is concatenate that and just say class name, something like that. And then let's create class name here. So class name is going to come from let's see here. Here we can put two things. We're going to say action, and what are those two things we have? Action and a table. Okay, something like that. So both of these we're expecting are strings. We don't really have to specify, but we can. Something like that. Okay. Okay, so with this, if you look at the migrate file from the public folder, the first thing here is either we do create or drop. And then here we have either a table name or the word all. So let's start with create, or maybe let's start with drop, because drop is easier to do. Okay, so if we are in the drop section, this is still going to be a table name. So let's see here. If I come back to migration inside run here, the class name will be equal to the table. So we're going to do UC first so that it capitalizes the first letter of that table. Something like that. Okay. So once we get that, we should find a file like that. But before we require it, we should probably check if the file exists. So we say if not file exists, because we're only really concerned if it's not there, then we can simply die here at this point. So die, or maybe you can do return, I don't know. But we need to echo something. Let's say migration file not found. So here we could put the name of the file with two quotes like that, and then say class name. Let's see, migration file class name. Maybe let's do migration file for table not found. Okay, great, something like that. Now, if it is found, then we're going to require it and then run things here. Now, at this point, it's not always going to be users, so this value has to be dynamic, which is class name itself. So let's put that over here. But I want all of this evaluated as one string, so I'm going to put all of it inside double quotes like that, so that there is an evaluation to one string. Now, the problem here is that this quote is actually neutralizing this bracket over here, right? So what I could do in this situation is either concatenate the two, or maybe let me just do that to simplify things. I could just double it up like that, which releases this one from being escaped. Maybe that'll work. Let's try that. Now, instead of saying user here, we're just going to say class or something like that, because it's a random class that we don't know what name it has. And then we run that class. All right. So the first thing is, let's look at whether we are running the up or down function here would depend on the action. So if we are creating or if we are dropping, so I'm going to say if, let's say, action is equal to create, then we are creating like this. All right. And then else, let's try else if, because we don't know. Somebody could write something else there. So else if it's a drop, then we would do class down like that. All right. And then we can do an else, just in case they do something else that we don't know. Here we're gonna die and just say something like action not recognized or something. I don't know. That the action, and then let's put that in quotes, was not. I think instead here we go back to that usage thingy. Where is that? It's inside the main migrate. So I think I'm gonna do this. Let me copy that. These two here. Back here, and now I don't want 2 lines because I don't want to put the brackets. Excuse me. So let's just use die over here. I'm gonna say die like that, and let's put that in brackets. Okay, great. So far so good. We're using the class name from the action. Wait, create, that's action, and then table, That's that there. Okay. Okay. All right. So this seems to be everything we need. So let's try this out and see if things gonna work. And we have this users thingy here. Let me just remove the user class. Sorry. Let me just remove the echo there, and we just do select all from users. Let's just say limit 1. I just want one result so that the thing doesn't scroll down so much. And the down one, this will actually drop the table, but I don't want to actually drop the table just yet. So maybe I can do something else here as well. Let's say from users where ID is equal to 1, right? Let me try this here as well. But instead, let me do this. So for both of these, I just want to read from the database before I actually drop the table, because once I drop the table, there's no going back from that. So I'm just going to do ID is equal to 2 for dropping, and then ID is equal to 1 for creating the table. All right, guys, so let's go and give it a shot. So let's try PHP migrate, and then we're going to say the action is let's create a table called users. Let's do that. Okay, so there's unexpected token exit on line 20 in migration.php. So let's check that out. So migration.php on line 20 die. So we are missing a semicolon there. All right, so let's try again. Let me clear the screen and let's try again. All right, so again, a syntax error. These are the easiest errors because it just means we typed something wrong. So unexpected double quote mark on line 24. All right, so I'm guessing this is here. Yes, exactly. Okay, so what to do here? So with this, let's see if maybe we put brackets here so that this is evaluated first. Let me see if that helps at all. Okay, I think that actually did help. So let's do too few arguments to function run. Oh, okay. Then we're getting closer. So let's clear that screen. So all it's saying is that the function called run, or up, is it run? It's run. Has these arguments that it needs, but I'm not supplying it where I'm running it. So where am I running it from? Here. All right. So let me give it what it needs. So these action and these table, like that. All right, great. So back again. Let's try one more time. And there we go. So it's working, right? Let's try to drop. So we know this is the create version because ID is 1. If ID is 2, then we know it's the drop version. So PHP migrate, and then let's say drop users. Okay, so ID is equal to 2, which means that would have dropped the users table. Let's try a table that does not exist. So I'm gonna retype this, but let's try a table like posts, maybe. Okay, so migration file for table posts not found. So things are working as intended, which is awesome. What about if I have posts and then I have some other thing instead of drop, right? Migration file for posts not found. How did it recognize that action? That action should not be recognized. But let's try when the table actually exists and it says usage. Okay, so that's great. All right, so things seem to be running. This is good enough for what we need. So let's try an actual use case. So in the users table here, the users class in migration, this is one migration file. That's what I'm editing here. So you can describe this. It creates the users table or something. So this one creates the users table. Now let's come here and let's create an actual query. So this query here should be something like drop table if exists users. All right. So users table, and then let's just run this here like so. And then once this is run, we don't need to fetch anything. This is just a query that we are running. So I'm gonna delete this part. And does query actually return anything? Query returns a statement, I think. Yes, it does. So we could check the content of that, but for now, let me just do return, just in case you need this. So I'm gonna do return like so. And then let's do a die. Or you can do echo here, it's up to you. I'm just gonna copy what I have over here. Instead of usage, where is this? Let's try this one here. So what I want to do is just put a message that everything is good. So I'm gonna paste that and say let's put another in there and say my table, and then we should have the table. Let's say table users dropped successfully, something like that, right? Here we have the opposite, which is create. Let's copy that and put it here. Table users created successfully. And let me return this. Go to the end here and remove that. We don't need the fetch again. Like that. Okay, now let's create the proper query here that we need. So the query will go something like create table if not exists users, like that. It's very important to check if it exists or not. And then we have open and close brackets like that, but let's do this in here like so. Now this is where we name our columns, right? Now what you could do is you could create the table already in PHP My Admin and then just copy the query here. So let me show you how you can do that. If you go to your what is this, PHP My Admin, right? And let's come down here where you select the table, the database, sorry, and there it is. Now you could go, actually not there, you go to where the databases are listed. So you click on server here and then you click on databases. So this shows you a list of databases here. Oh, actually no, I want the tables, sorry about that. Let's go back to YouTube clone DB. So we click on that and then this is where you see the list of tables that you have. So when you select a table like that, so if you select a table, there's a drop down here that says with selected, you can say show create. So once you're done with that, you can just copy this text over here. This is how you would create the table. If you run this query, it would create the table. So we can easily just copy that query and run it and paste it here, sorry. Something like so, right? So let me move this a little bit. Something like that. Okay. So all the good stuff is here. There's auto increment, default value. So this is how you can learn what query you need to run. Auto increment here, we're going to put it at 1. Yep, just so it starts from the beginning when we create the table for the first time. You don't need these quotes here, but you can leave them there. This is fine. Okay. Now, if you see here, there's something wrong with this code because these two are not compatible. Because when I say return, it means this code will never run. So I should move this code up here. And then instead of die, let me just echo it, because again, if I die here, then I won't get to the return part. So that wasn't good. Let's do echo here as well. Let me move this up like that. Okay. Wait, but we're echoing before we do anything, so maybe that's not good. So what we do instead is, let's just say res is equal to, and then after we echo, we can return the res like so. That's a much better approach, I think. Same thing here. Let's just say res is equal to, and then return res. And let's move this here like so. All right, guys, so that does it for our first migration file. So let's really test this out, right? So I'm gonna go to my PHP my admin just to see. I'm gonna go to the structure of this. So there is a users table here, quite right. If I refresh this, there's a users table there, still there. So let's see if we can drop it. So what I'm going to do is go back here, clear the screen, and then I'm going to say PHP migrate and just say drop users. Okay, so it says table users dropped successfully. Let's just confirm that. I'm going to refresh. And as you can see, there are no more tables in this database, which is right. Now, if I want to create it, all I need to do is change the drop to create. Okay, so now I have created the table. And there it is. But I want to be able to create just more than that, just drop all of them or create drop and create, right? So let me go here to the migration class. I want to be able, excuse me, I want to be able to use the all as well. So I want to do something like drop all. So here I want to run this PHP migrate and then drop and then say all like that, right? I want to be able to drop all of those. So what I do, so there is one table here. So what this will involve is us going to the migrations folder and collecting all the files that are in there, and then running all of them, right? One at a time. So let's see how that can be done. Now at this point here, if the table is named all, then we should divert to something else. So what we're going to do is make a loop in here instead. Let me put a /n at the end of that. Okay, migration file for table not found. Let me put a /n here as well. New line and new line there as well. Alrighty then. So we have these files here. Class name is equal to the table over here. But if we have let me move over here for a second. I want to put this inside a loop. So what I'm going to do is say what to do here, what to do. So there is this file here. Now, let me just do this. Let me just say files is equal to. Now I want to create an array called files so that I run this like a loop. And then I'm going to say files add to files and then say is equal to. So I add whatever is there right now. Okay, and then I can loop through files here. So for each, like that, files, because now files is an array as a single file, like that. So whatever file we're dealing with, we add it to the array and then we loop through. Now in this case, we're going to loop through only once because there's only one file. But the beauty of doing it like this is that we can add more files and then just get it to loop more times. Okay, great. So now we have an array and files. So things should work as normal even with this. So let's try it to make sure we haven't broken anything. So drop users. Let's just say that. And as you can see, it seems to have worked. Let's refresh. And that table is gone. Okay, so it still works. That's cool. Now what I want to do is, if the table is equal to all, I want to add more files to this. So I'm going to say if table rather is equal to the word all, like that, then we do something else here. Let's add to the files list. So when that happens, I'm gonna, instead of saying all there, I'm gonna empty the files thingy and just say it's empty now. And then now files is going to be equal to, there's a function called scandir, which scans the directory. So we're going to specify the directory we're scanning. So --app/migrations/. Okay, and let's die here because I don't want it to do anything else after this. All I want to do is do dd files. I just want to see what's inside files when we get there. So let's clear the screen. Let's do PHP migrate and then let's say create and then all. Okay, so once we do that, you can see now it's showing me an array of what files are in there. The only problem with this is it loads the directories. These two are directories because this one, when you click on this, it's the same folder. This one is the folder above, dot is the app folder. So when you click that one, it takes you to the previous folder. But this one is the file. So I just want PHP files to be scanned here. Now I could use a wildcard, which is a star.php like that, which just means any text here will do of any length. But the problem is I don't think scandir does this, or maybe there's a flag I should add, which I don't know. But once I do this, it just gives me an error. So instead of scandir, let's use another function called globe. And globe can do exactly this. So that's the folder name, and then wildcard, and then wild character here, and then any PHP file. So let's see if it listens to that instruction. And as you can see, it shows me the files. Okay, great. Now, in order to be sure about this, let's copy the users.php and let's just create a different table altogether. So I'm going to right click on migrations and create a new one. I'll copy that users one and paste here. This one, we're going to call it videos maybe. Capital V, of course, .php. All right, so wherever it says users, let's change that to videos. And the name, let's say videos. Great. So now we have two tables. The content of the table doesn't matter. It's just the name of the table that I'm interested in now. That way, at least we have two files, right? So back to our migration here. So if we have more than one file, let's try this again. And as you can see, it shows me both of the files. So what I really want is to concatenate this, and actually this works pretty well. These are the files, but I need the name itself. Okay. So class name in this case is going to be, let's move on here. So there's a file, and then we include the file. Now class name here is going to be something. So let me go down here for a sec. So there is file here, but since this is not the class name is not user added, what I want us to do is if file not exists, class name. So class name here is questionable. So let's recreate class name here. So I'm going to say class name is going to be equal to, let's do the base name of the file. Now the base name is going to get rid of everything except this last part here with .php. So that contains the class name, yes, but without the .php. So let's do a string replace of that. Again, you can say class name is equal to string replace. What are we searching for? .php, and replacing it with emptiness. And then the subject is class name itself. Alrighty. So, this seems about right. And yeah, that's actually it. Okay, so let's give it a shot here. Let's see what won't work and what will work. Let me remove the die over here because we need this to actually work. Alrighty then. So back to my browser. I will refresh to show that there are no tables. But I want to create our tables now. So I'm going to do PHP migrate and say create all. Okay, so as you can see, table users created successfully, table videos created successfully. So it seems to have worked. Let me refresh. And there we go. We have two tables here that have been created. Let's drop both of them. So instead of create, let's do a drop. Okay, and it seems to have worked as well. Okay, now I just want to create the videos table. So here I'm just going to say create videos. Okay, that seems to have worked as well. Great, let's create the users table now. Okay. And there we go. So things are working as intended. And finally, let me drop all. Okay, so things are working. Our migration system is working, and that's really all there is to it. So that ends our migration section here. All right, so from now on, if we want to create a table, we just create a migration file here and then just run it in the command line. And then we'll leave this migration.php as it is, never to be edited again. All right, in the next video, let's create some data validation when a user tries to sign up, because we're going to the sign up process now. All right, guys, so I'm going to see you in the next video.